Good morning, yes. Well, to start the speech, I have always believed that life is a very interesting game. You know, I didn't know what exactly the game was. It could have been Kabaddi, it could have been Kalla Manna, Thiridam Police, Angry Birds, whatever. But I had the sensation that life is an interesting game. Only recently did I find out that the game was an endless ping-pong game governed by the rule of duality. By duality, what I mean is that for every phenomenon in life, there is an equal and an opposite phenomenon. You know, good, bad, sun, moon, light, dark, zeros, ones, present, absent, pass, fail, white, black. That's the governing rule of life. It is not different in the life of an entrepreneur as well. An entrepreneur's life has that duality embedded into his life. And we are here to speak about that duality in an entrepreneur's life. And I am Gomathi Shankar, and I am going to speak about all the white aspects of entrepreneurship, all the positive energy, hopes, dreams, aspirations, and successes. And I hope I'll do a good job.
Good morning, and I'm Anand, and I'm going to focus on the black side of entrepreneurship, the hardships, the obstacles, the pains that an entrepreneur undergoes, no? And let's see, the tough times are ahead.
It's actually not as sound as he projects if you have a good team. That's what I would say. You know, a good team is really important for an entrepreneurial venture. The primary reason is because if you are involved in it in a team, you will not be alone if destiny decides to give a slap on your face. You will have company when you are bankrupt, and you will have company to share the problems together. But jokes apart, you know, a good team which has a healthy differences of opinion, which has a complementary strengths, and which has a collective vision really matters a lot for a startup dream. And we were really fortunate to have such a good team. You know, this is our team. We had a crazy team like this. We call ourselves the superheroes of creative thinking at Sparks'n'Beyond. It's a team of 6 people. And, you know, we still hope that if we try harder, we can emit a spider web from our fingers. So hope keeps us moving.
So, as I said, we had a diverse team. We had engineers, we had management graduates, we had writers, we had poets, we had Sunny Leone fans and all those things. So, we were completely contrasting people. So, we had the team, and we know what the nature of our company is going to be. So, the next phase of our company is to, next phase of an entrepreneur at this stage is to flaunt your company and shamelessly promote it as much as you can so that it spreads out through mediums like Twitter, Facebook, and more effective next door mommy. So what we happened was, to promote our company, we wanted a name. And the criteria for the name was to be, it has to have 4 letters, a bisyllabic word that is easy to pronounce, that is impossible to misspell. So we came up with a 4-letter word, not this one, another 4-letter word, and we liked it very much. No, we did logos, we did website, we did visiting cards and all those. And when we wanted to have a website, we were looking for a domain name. And when we typed www.the4letters.com, we found that it had people who are more passionate than us upon site. So we dropped it. And we had some 11 to 12 names which are completely disregarded by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. And then so we finally settled in for some 17th name or something called Sparks'n'Beyond. Taking a step backward and seeing the same thing, on a personal front, I was an engineer who chose not to pursue engineering further, who banished the job that I was having and started a company. And naming is the most primitive stage in starting a company, and I was failing in 16 attempts to just name a company. So doubts started coming in whether I'm serious enough to start a company, whether I'm dedicated enough to start a company and all those things. And this was the initiation of the tough phase in my life.
Actually, yes, we have taken this U-turn with the naming of the company. You know, it is actually tough, but handling the situation depends on the personal ecosystem that we all have. That is made up of friends, family, and the soulmate. For entrepreneurs, the third item is really important item, and I hope the young entrepreneurs here will agree with me. First of all, we all have a bunch of friends who blindly support us in whatever we do. That might vary from a lot of things. It might vary from choosing a very exotic restaurant to deciding to propose to a girl and deciding to start up a company. Whatever it is, you will need the support of some friends who will blindly encourage you. And we had the support of such friends who motivated us when we said, Macha, we are going to start up a company, and we don't know what a company means. We are just going to do business and make some money out of it. That happened. And the support of the family is also really crucial, because they are the ones who are dependent on you at a later stage in your life. So when I went up to my father, who was retired by the time I started this company, and I told him that, Dad, I'm going to start a company with some of my friends. And he said this response. He said, Magane, I get enough pension to support myself and Amma. Akka is married. You don't have any financial obligations. I will not be able to support you. If you can make enough money to sustain yourselves, please go ahead. That was the support that kept me moving till date. And I really owe a lot of success of this company to the support from parents in that way. And the third point, as I said, it's a very crucial point. This is the point that hindered my mother. Mothers, they are always bothered about one thing. She said that if you start a business on your own, nobody will give you a daughter for marriage, and that will be a problem that you will have to face. And of course, out of the 5 startup co-founders of Sparks'n'Beyond, 3 are married, and we are the 2 who are still single. And all the 3 people found their own soulmates themselves. So it actually forces me to think that there might be some truth in my mother's apprehensions. But yeah, I take it as an added challenge. In addition to proving myself as a good businessman, I should also prove my mother that I can get a married life smoothly. So I hope that both will happen.
The initial phase of entrepreneurship is the most irritating phase in an entrepreneur's life. People give advice in heaps. Everyone gives an advice. I once went and bought a vegetable from our usual vegetable vendor and asked how much is a kg of onion, and this was his reply. Thambi, you scored 97% and you are not in America, you are still buying onions here. And trust me, that was the last time I ever inquired about an onion rate to a vegetable vendor. So it's not only that. When you go to a marriage function or some other family function, there will be, at any given point of time, there will be at least 3 mommies whose son or daughter is in America. And they will be using, my son is in America, as a conjunction to every sentence they use. Hi, hello, my son is in America, how are you? Hi, bring me some rasam, no? My son is in America, also bring me puppet. So these kinds of things get into my parents' ears, and already they are upset and afraid of my decision, and these kinds of things increase their fears, and they start giving fierce looks, they start ranting about it. At initial phases, you just banish them and console yourself that you are not caring about them. But when you get onto bed to sleep, these rants and these sounds fall into your ears. And this phase of an entrepreneur, every entrepreneur will be having this phase in his life, and the tough phase officially begins here.
Yeah, it officially begins there, but self-doubts also creep in, as he said, in the sleepless nights. But these doubts often come through benchmarking us with friends who were with us as students. And I did a little comparative study of accomplishments that I got and they didn't get. Number one, I and Anand can have the title as co-founders of a company. They can't. I have published a book on my own so far. Not many of my friends have done. I have traveled far and wide and met a lot of people from different sections of the society. Not a lot of people in my friends group have done that. I have built a network of people ranging in the CXO levels in business. Not a lot of my friends have done that. I give salaries to a person every month, guaranteed salaries. Though my salary is not guaranteed every month. Not a lot of my friends do that, if you don't count the salary that they give to their cookmates. And eventually, the last thing, we get recognized in forums like this. We talk on forums like this. We talk to people like that. Not many of my friends do that. Such accomplishments are what motivates us and keep us going. And inspirations are required in 2 ways for an entrepreneur. One is the inspiration not to quit, and the other is to move forward. When we started, we took a 1,000-day promise. We agreed amongst ourselves that whatever happens, for 1,000 days, we will not quit this. And we stood by the promise, and we are really proud for doing that now. And the second promise, the inspiration to move forward, we kept small targets to decide our progress. The first year's turnover was made 5 times the next year, and we aimed at tripling that turnover for the next year, and we achieved all that. And the current year, we have aimed at doubling the turnover, the current turnover, and we are already halfway through it. You know, small targets, achievable targets, they motivate us. Hope is really a good thing to have in business.
Accomplishments in an entrepreneur's life is like a ship. You know, people see only the smooth sail of the ship in waters, but the sufferings, the propellers are always hidden. They're not seen. And there'll be times in the initial phases of your entrepreneurial life where you are completely bankrupt. And you can't say that to your families too, because they are already afraid, and when they know that you don't have money with you, then things just turn ugly. So you can't say that you are bankrupt to your family, and the friends who passed out with you will be earning in lakhs. They'll be having a car, helicopter, house, and all those things. And slowly envy starts setting in. This envy grows into a frustration. And when you lay back to your sleep, these voices, you know, the voices in your head, they turn increasingly violent. Every time you try to silence it, it starts shouting with greater intensity. And life gets tougher here.
You know, talk of shouting, business happens through shouting. You have to shout out to get business. It is tough, but in initial days, we had to shout out louder to some of our clients and convince them. The vision with which we started this company was to build a business on the foundation of creative thinking. We thought to sell creativity. It was really tough. You know, we didn't have a solid answer for all those people who asked us, what do you do? We were not running a restaurant to simply tell them, come and eat, we have a good menu. It was difficult, but the satisfaction comes now when we get business from clients through word of mouth, when people recognize a potential and it slowly builds up. You know, people talk of risk and all. Risk is like climbing a mountain. It's tough. The oxygen will not be there. The path will not be rugged and all. But if you strive harder, you will reach the peak, and you will feel the bliss when you reach the peak. Many people feel risk as jumping off a mountain. It is not that. Risk is dependent on each person. You decide if you're climbing the mountain or you're jumping off the mountain. And the mantra that always keeps us moving in this company is Jai Harry Potter. You know, how many of you here read Harry Potter? You know, in the Potter stories, no matter what complex position Potter is in, he just closes his eyes and looks for help, and some silly thing comes and helps him. It might be a hat, a sword, a silver dough, or whatever. It's simply like that in entrepreneurship. When you're facing a tough situation, you have to simply hope. Hope. Help will come, and it has come for us. So, Jai Harry Potter, hope.
In the business life, when you see a client and say that you have started a company and all those, they will be feeling very happy for you. They will appreciate you, they will praise you. They will say that, no, even I have not done in my life at your age, and you have accomplished so much and all those things, but they won't give business. You know, a guy meeting a client in t-shirt and jean is still considered as a professional rebel. People still afraid to give business to them because they think they are not serious enough to do business with them. And these things, you won't get business. You won't have a good portfolio when you start, so you don't have the finances, obviously. And the personal problems, the self-doubts, the mommy, the mother's rants, everything come and haunt you. These things, you know, they get as a vacuum inside you, and they start sucking your confidence levels. And this phase is the toughest phase for an entrepreneur. No, we call it the black curse. Every entrepreneur has to go through this phase, and this is the toughest.
To conclude, we were speaking of the whites and the blacks, but we have to come to the truth somewhere in the middle. You know, that's where we conclude. Entrepreneurship, in spite of all the bright things that I mentioned, is not as rosy as I projected it to be. It has its own share of problems. Girls are still reluctant to marry entrepreneurs. And the growth of an entrepreneur is still decided by some force called randomness. I don't necessarily call it luck. Out of 100 people, 10 people sustain and 2 people succeed in the entrepreneurial journey so far. It is some random mechanism that is working in the behind. And the growth of an entrepreneur is not like that of a banyan tree. It's like that of a bamboo tree. You know, the entrepreneur has to be passionate, flexible, and he should, of course, have a good sense of humor to face all these problems. And if he possesses all that, he will succeed. So entrepreneurship is not all that white as I projected. It is gray. Entrepreneurship is gray.
Also, this is stating the same fact, entrepreneurship is not as cruel as I had projected it to be. You don't need to have it in your genes. You don't need to have any build-up songs or lucks. It just needs one thing. It needs your commitment to stay. You know, things appear tough. Things are tough. Things will get tougher and toughest. But it needs your commitment to stay there. You know, an entrepreneur who's starting up, a startup entrepreneur is like a suspension. He suspends between his dreams above and his temptations below. It's a matter of to whom you yield to. You know, you yield to your dreams and fly high, or you yield to your temptations and fall down. Entrepreneurship is not like a cigarette. You know, there's no need to quit in entrepreneurship. It's like an attitude. You need to hold it. There will be doubts. There will be pains. There will be hardships. There will be everything. It is completely black until it grabs something from the white. No, there will be people who blindly support you, there will be mentors who advise you, and there will be a lot of Jai Harry Potter things that happen in a company. So, entrepreneurship is not exactly black, it is not white, it is gray. Thank you.
Thank you.